Okay, ladies and gentlemen, my next guest is a really interesting guy I met when I rented an Airbnb in Sedona. He has a PhD in metaphysics. Really interesting guy. We're talking about consciousness, just awareness, and just really interesting guy. He has a really big collection, a lot of books, and just super amazing to talk to. So I invited him on my podcast. His name is Eagle. How's it going, buddy?
Yeah, well, it's actually Reverend Chief Walter Soaring Eagle, PhD, Kohler PhD.
PhD,
Yeah,
Reverend Chief.
yeah.
Okay,
So I'm chief of the mini walks.
nice.
Yeah,
And that's a tribe.
well, it was a collection of a lot of us who came here to Sedona back in the '90s. Were under the guidance of Grandfather Hollis Little Creek, who was of the Martin clan of the Anishinaabe, Red Lakes Anishinaabe.
Okay.
And so he trained us to be pipe carvers and pipe carriers, and trained us in the sweat lodge, and many of us became sun dancers. And so I became a sun dancer, and I did my 4-year obligation in Sundance.
Let me ask you this question. So I've done the Mexican version of the sweat lodge, which is called the Tamascal.
Yeah.
Is there like a spiritual aspect to sweat lodge, like an Indian sweat lodge?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The whole purpose of it is we're going back into the womb of the mother, right? And hopefully we come out reborn, in a much better state of mind, a much better body form.
Yeah.
We pray for our family, we pray for our friends, we ask for guidance and direction.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's
and so we sing. The songs that we sing are meant to bring in the spirit realm so that they can help us on our journey. And we burn sage, sweetgrass, copal.
What's cedar? Do you guys burn
Yeah,
cedar?
cedar too.
Yeah.
Well, oftentimes, like up in Canada, we the floor of the sweat lodge we covered in cedar boughs.
Wow. That's a lot of cedar.
Yeah, and
So cedar, I use it in my office
Mm-hmm.
because I work from home and I'm in sales. I get a lot of negative people, and it really actually helps.
Yeah, I got a big cedar tree right in front.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
I ordered it from Amazon though,
Yeah,
because
You go ahead and clip some, take some. with you.
yeah, I'll take some. See, that's how nice he is. But it really helps. Like, it just wipes out negative energy, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, see, sage, for example, has been determined or scientifically proven to convert negative ions into positive ions.
Scientifically proven.
Yeah, it actually turns negative ions into positive ions.
Okay.
Okay, and so when it gets inside the body, when you breathe it as smoke, right? It purifies the body, and it pushes out through your sweat glands and pushes the toxins out of your body.
Wow.
Right? If you take sage and you put it in a pot of water and boil it,
Mhm.
right? And hold your head over it like you're congested,
Yeah.
right? And you breathe it in. Sage is an expectorant, and so it draws stuff out of you.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was just doing it for good vibes. Because
Yeah.
I just saw like meditation people do it.
Mm-hmm.
And they do it at a lot of meditation retreats and meditation classes I take.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I'm just going to do it for good vibes. But if there's a physical positive aspect to it,
Yeah, that's why
That's
people
awesome.
smudge their house, especially if you move into a home,
yeah,
right?
you should definitely do
And you don't know who's lived there before,
it. Mm-hmm.
right? And you get a weird feeling, right? There's probably been arguments happening in that house.
For sure.
So you go in there and you smudge the house and you clear away all that negative energy.
Yeah, I do it twice a day.
Yeah.
Because I
And-
get a lot of negative people.
Yeah, right.
yeah, but I mean, I get some good ones too. But
Yeah.
that's why I feel so good, man, at work. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I do it before work and like halfway during work.
Yeah, we got sage sticks right there
Awesome.
up on top of the in that bowl up there. So we always keep it around so we can always, especially if we get some tenants in here who aren't exactly harmonious.
Do you get some of those?
Yeah, same once in a while. We mostly get people on a spiritual journey,
Yeah.
but you might get the guy who's, just here for the mountain biking or just here for the hiking, or you get Republicans.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to smudge after the Republicans leave. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't want to offend too many Republicans out there, but if you're that far to the right where you follow that T letter,
Yeah.
you can.
I like to be in the middle,
Yeah.
just to be clear-headed.
Yeah, just to be in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so smudging is a great way to clear the energy and just to get your center back.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Good.
So
So
yeah.
tell me more about your PhD. Like, how did you get into metaphysics? And you said you specialize in consciousness.
Yeah. Well, here, grab me that book right there.
Which
That one
one?
on the top.
The blue one.
Yeah.
Okay. This book is, I can't even pronounce that.
The Kabbalion.
Kabbalion.
Yeah. It's the Hermetic Philosophies by 3 Initiates.
Okay.
Yoga Publishing Company, Chicago, Illinois, Masonic Temple. So Hermes was the messenger of the gods,
Yes.
right?
Was he the guy with the little wings on his feet?
Yeah, that's Mercury. Yeah, he also called Mercury.
Okay.
So these are 7 principles of creation, right? And so this was the very first metaphysical book I picked up. My dear friend Patty Capel in Sedona, or in Cincinnati, Ohio, who took me out of an unpleasant living environment and brought me into her home, right? And for a time we were lovers and that. But this is the first thing she did is give me this book.
She said, read it.
And I read it in one day, right? The next morning this is like in 1980.
Mm-hmm.
The next morning she's going to her waitressing job in downtown Cincinnati where she typically makes $20 in tips, right?
Back then, that was good.
Huh?
Back then, that was good.
That was good afternoon lunch tips.
Okay.
Anyway, so before she left, I said, "Unto those that look upon the face of one Patty Capel shall know they have seen the face of kindness and generosity, and so be moved by those emotions." She came home that day with $100 in tips.
5 times as much.
5 times as much.
Wow.
And 13 times she asked me to speak those words in her behalf.
And it worked all through 13.
All 13 times. Within 24 hours, $100 showed up, including her brother showing up on Christmas morning, who she hadn't seen in 3 years, and gave her $100 for Christmas. And because I still know Patty, and she's now known as Patty Lightflower, and she's a renowned palmist-troist in Cincinnati. She does all these big parties because, well, basically I got drunk with a guy who owned a company called Party Planners. I said, "Hey, man, how about a palm-reading gypsy?" He said he'd love the idea, right?
Okay.
So he hired her on, and she's never had a waitress again.
That's awesome. What are your thoughts on... Okay, so let's
So,
just
yeah,
go back on that.
Yeah, so this was the first metaphysical book I've read, spiritual book I read.
Yes.
Right? And the first day out, I performed an act of magic. Right?
Yes.
One of the last things this thing says in this book is that you now hold the key that unlocks all the doors to the temple.
Are you the temple in the sense? Is it...
Well, it's the temple is knowledge.
The temple is knowledge.
All right.
The knowledge...
So you have access to all knowledge if you can understand this book. Most people can't read past page 10 because the first principle in the Kabbalion is mentalism.
Mentalism.
Everything is mind. Everything is mental. Everything that is, isn't. Right?
Right.
And so we're all thought forms in the mind of God.
You
or
mean
the
like
creator, the divine, or whatever you want to refer to, that which is before all else was. Right?
Okay.
And because we think this is real, right, but it's just a bunch of spinning atoms moving so fast it looks like a solid object.
Yes.
Right?
That is very true. And it's
Yeah.
99% energy.
Yeah.
Right.
No. 99.99% of this is space. Only 0.01% of it is an atom.
Well, between the spaces. Well, the
Yeah.
space is energy, right, in a sense?
Well, yeah, it's all
So
God thought.
So pretty much less than 1% is actually matter, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
that
little
makes
bits really
sense.
matter.
Right.
Right.
Well, that's why I was able to...
And that's why they're talking about dark matter and dark energy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they can't explain where 95% of the universe is.
Let me ask you a question. I got into, actually on the podcast with a different physicist. He's like, well, we understand 5% of the universe, and based on that, we understand the whole 95%. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. I was like, how do you explain the whole universe based on 5% of what you understand?
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
Because, you got to recognize that there's limitless altered dimensional frequencies. Now, I'll get into that a little bit about why I have a doctorate. My thesis is the physics of ascension. Okay?
Like going to a different life?
Going to a different dimension.
Okay.
Changing. Okay, so Jesus didn't rise up in the air. If he had gone up in the air, he would have eventually become a popsicle. Right? Yeah, you go up high enough, it gets cold enough, your body will freeze.
You mean he uses pineal gland?
No, he... what happens is that when that is all that was,
Okay.
It wanted to understand the self. It tried to figure it out. Just like in the Moody Blues saying, I think I am. Therefore I am, I think. Right? Moody Blues giving us a secret back in 67. And so it realized that for it to understand the self, it had to allow itself to experience all aspects of the self without judgment or expectation. And it must love unconditionally everything it experienced.
Yeah.
And to do that, it had to first love itself.
Love thyself?
Yeah. And once this, that is, felt love for the self, it felt something for the first time. And that feeling is a vibration. And everything that vibrates is the feminine aspect of God. And therefore, in that moment, Mother God became.
That makes sense.
Right?
So let me give you my 2 cents. On Joe Dispenza, he's all like, you can't go into the divine being someone with an ego. You have to shed all that.
Yeah.
You have to go into it as no one, no place, no time, no space. That pretty much is what you're saying in a different lingo.
You know what? The ego is a survival mechanism that says, I'm not going to jump off this bridge because I really want to live today. Right? I'm not going to walk out in the middle of oncoming traffic.
Or I have a big house, I have a big car.
Yeah, that's ego out of balance.
Yeah.
Right? That's saying I got more than you. Right?
Yeah.
And so when someone has let go, they let God. And they recognize that I am this that is in this manifested form, that is this particular memory complex that has formed this personality. And if Father Thought and Mother Form unite together within my heart, then this is the Trinity.
Okay.
And so when we finally recognize that we are actually angels of co-creation, so we might say something in this podcast that might stimulate a thought in someone who's listening to this program, that might lead to another thought, asking a question. And all of a sudden they're on this spiritual path that they can't shake for nothing. Right?
That happened to me, though.
Yeah. Our job isn't to be a guru. Guru means, gee, you are you. Right? I like to call myself a Jimmy. Gee, I am I. Right? And so my job isn't to take anyone into enlightenment. My job is, for one, to take away the blockages that prevent enlightenment from happening in the first place, i.e. axiotonal, which reconnects the axiotonal line from the crown chakra to the higher self, because once it's connected there, it travels through the body and reactivates a fifth dimensional circulatory system in the body. Okay, kind of like an astral meridian system. And these axiotonal lines are like astral...
astral projection, you mean?
Well, no, they're like an astral fiber optic network that links everything to divine consciousness.
Yeah.
Astral projection is...
Yeah, astral projection.
At a point, it's a simple thing. It's a matter of thought. You think you're somewhere and you are.
Yeah.
Right?
But you're out of your body in a sense.
Well, that's what I'm working on.
I actually did that during the meditation, but it was like 4.5 hours. Like, they pushed me. But it was like, I didn't expect it to happen. It just happened for a sec. I got a little scared and jumped back.
Well, I was driving down Interstate 75 at 80 miles an hour on a motorcycle when I asked Creator, how do I bring quantum theory, physics, and spirituality together? And suddenly I'm yanked out of my motorcycle, flying through our solar system, flying through our galaxy, through the universe, back to a point where everything's collapsing into a moment, and light had just become.
And then you come back?
Then there was a vibration. That vibration was love, the first feeling, right? And that love and light came together as one, as Father, Mother, God, right? In the Great Right. And that idea of creation then was able to explode in the mind of God and vibrate out and become energy that became matter, that became all things in creation. And as a hydrogen atom became, so became the element of fire. And with that, so became the Archangel Michael. Right? And then as the element of nitrogen became, so became the element of air. And so became the Archangel Raphael. And as oxygen became, so became the element of water. And so became Gabriel. And as carbon formed, so became the element of earth and the Archangel Uriel. Right? And then when they collide, they merge their energies to become something else. When hydrogen and oxygen run into each other, they become a water droplet. Right?
Okay.
And so
The water droplet, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, I'm back in my body, going 80 miles an hour down the interstate on a motorcycle.
Okay, good. I thought you got into a car accident or something like that.
No.
Okay,
no,
good.
no.
So you came back to the same place.
It was instant.
Yeah, it was instant. Okay.
I was able to remember 13 billion years, 13.6 billion years in an instant.
Wow. How did that feel? Euphoric?
Yeah, it was euphoric. I mean, I just went back into Godhead.
God mode. Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Right.
And so, if everything is the union of Mother, Father, God, if everything is love, light, then why are we afraid?
Because I guess we've lost that touch.
Yeah,
We're separated.
We're judging ourselves. Judge not, let you be judged doesn't mean I'm judging you. I'm judging me. I mean, I spent 5 years of my life from 15 to 20 years old pimping groupies to rock bands.
Really?
Yeah.
But that was a long time ago.
That's when I was 15 years old.
Well, I mean, I used to drink and party
that's
too.
52 years ago.
Yeah.
And so we've gone a long way, right? But, it's like, how do you ever make amends for that? How can you go to find those people to say, I'm sorry, I pimped your ass off to a rock band?
You don't. You make amends to yourself.
Well, what I did is I also needed to find a way to love my father, who was a lieutenant commander in the Navy, who was a very violent alcoholic, which led me to being on drugs at 11 years old.
And he was very authoritative.
Oh, yeah, it was insane. It was violent. I mean, 13 years old at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm on the emergency phone at the police station in my underwear. Right? Violent childhood.
Yeah.
And so, I was on my own at 15 years old.
So they couldn't touch him in a sense, because he was a lieutenant.
No, because in that day and age, we didn't have the laws that protect children from violent fathers.
This is like 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah,
60.
50 years ago.
Wow, okay. Yeah.
And so, when I came here to Sedona in 89, I went up here to Keyhole Cave, and I did a vision quest. And I said to the Creator, I know every man, woman, and child on earth is a master, whether they know it or not. Show me the master my father was, that I might find a way to love him. And so a coyote came into the cave and went back on a ledge and sat down. Right? And I go, oh, my father was Coyote, the trickster. Well, what did my father trick me into? Well, he tricked you into enlightenment because he taught you everything not to be.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right?
And when you say vision quest, like peyote or like meditation?
No, like 4 days sitting in a cave.
Of just like meditating 4 days sitting in a cave. Wow.
Yeah, very little water, no food.
Wow. Yeah, that's legit. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very monk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm also a sun dancer, so yeah, that's how we do in Malaysia. And so, I needed to find a way to show respect to my father. And of course, as someone who fought in the Korean War and the World War II, on the USS Roosevelt and Truman, I had to honor and respect his time in service. And so I became a member of the Sons of the American Legion. And as that, I became chaplain for the American Legion Riders and for the Sons of the American Legion. And every Friday, I would find myself in the kitchen cooking fish for the veterans.
Awesome.
So not only was that a way for me to show respect and honor my father, but it was also a way for me to say I'm sorry to all the people I could never find to say I'm sorry to. I'm making a living amends.
And was he?
I did that for 9 years.
Was he alive to see that?
No.
Oh,
But he died in 2001 before 9/11.
Okay.
Thank God he died before 9/11.
He would have flipped. Yeah.
So the whole point is that I spent that 9 years making peace with my heart.
Yes.
Right? So I have no karma. I have no sins to be forgiven of. It means I have nothing to be afraid of. Because the biggest thing we're afraid of is God's throwing us in a pit of fucking fire, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, if we can step outside of fear, or if we can... So my responsibility in 87 was to find and establish the homeland to the tribe of the Phoenix. And ultimately, Sedona is where I concluded was to be the homeland to the tribe of the Phoenix.
Was there a lot of people back then here? Or like, was it popular, like destination?
It was becoming popular.
Okay.
Yeah, you can still go right up the hill and camp out, just outside the houses, away from the houses.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and so I came to Sedona and built a medicine wheel that's 7 miles in diameter. It surrounds the entire city of Sedona. The purpose of it is to declare Sedona the homeland to the tribe of the Phoenix. We who are tribe of the Phoenix are those who are willing to walk through the flames of our fear, that we might know the love of God waiting for us on the other side, that we may walk forever without fear, so that we may experience heaven on earth. Because heaven's not a place we're going to, it's a state of consciousness we become. And when we finally create that unity back to the Godhead, back to the divine, every day is heaven on earth.
Yeah.
Right? And neat things happen, like someone giving us $200,000 more than we're asking for our property in Louisville, Kentucky. At the same time, this house came off the market $300,000 under market value because the yard was messed up, and all of a sudden, in 1 week, God gave us $500,000.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So we can be here having this conversation.
Yeah.
The whole purpose of us ending up back in Sedona is so that we could have this conversation.
So
and this same conversation that we have with the 1,000 people a year who come to this house from all over the world. And so the other invocation that happened in this medicine wheel was to activate and stimulate and awaken the DNA of anybody who'd passed through it for a moment. Now, 6 million people a year come here to Sedona, right? They see something weird in the rocks that makes them think. They get their first tarot reading, their first astrology reading, they get their first palm reading. They get something that happens that says, well, this is different.
Yeah.
Right? And all of a sudden they're asking a question that gets them stepping outside their box.
You mean like awakening?
Yeah, a little bit of an awakening.
Yeah, a little bit
right?
of awakening. They're questioning things.
They're questioning things that they're
That's
not allowed
good.
to question at the church.
Yeah,
they get slapped upside the head by the nuns.
That's the issue. I
Right?
like questioning everything though.
Right.
My dad would slap me upside my head.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so they ask a question that they can't get answered from their church. Right? And someone gives them an answer that makes sense. And so they step into another question. Now they're on a path. They're on a spiritual journey because now they know they can't get these answers from the church. Because the church doesn't want them knowing this stuff, because as soon as you know this stuff, you don't need them anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they don't have control over you.
Yeah, they have no control over you at that point. Right? And so Sedona is this place that the vortexes here create an electromagnetic energy field that creates a psychic amplifier. Right? And so if you're facing your fear, you're going through hell. Right? If you see a pretty girl, you'll fall head over heels in love with her. Right? Because if something's out of balance in you, Sedona will bring it to the surface and amplify it. Right? If there's this big gaping hole inside of you, you're trying to fill up with love, with drugs, with sex, with alcohol, and you're pumping all this stuff into you because you're trying to fill this empty hole inside of you, which is not feeling loved by God or by the divine or by creation in the universe. Right? Because I did this at 14 years old. Well, damn it, I was a pimp at 15 years old. Right? If there's a story about a prodigal son, I'm it.
Prodigal son.
Right? I mean, I went pretty far away from, stage right. I went pretty far left there,
Yeah.
And for me to find my way back here is a miracle.
Good.
And yesterday I had I celebrated 28 years of sobriety.
Right. You told me that.
Yeah.
Told me that. And it's been like 2.5 months for me.
Yeah.
But, I'm going.
Yeah, do it.
I'm going.
Congratulations, man.
But the thing is, I have no desire to drink.
Yeah.
But I used to want to drink. And, I used to be like, yeah, let me have a drink. Like, I went to Jerome.
Yeah.
And I saw all these nice pubs. I was like, man, if it was me 3 months ago, I'd probably drop by and just have, 5 beers at different places.
Yeah, you don't want to be there. Jerome waits for you to come down the hill.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, they wait for you to come down the hill.
I mean, they could have caught me right now. I didn't drink. I had some gelato ice cream. I was like, catch me for that. I'm guilty of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
that's it.
Yeah, don't drink in Jerome.
So
anybody who comes to the Sedona area, don't go to Jerome and get drunk.
Yeah, or don't get drunk and drive in general.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, especially in Jerome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
let me ask you this: consciousness. What is it, in a sense? Is it you being aware?
Yeah, it's
yourself.
It's finally being aware that you are a part of
a whole, part of a whole.
I'm looking at God in this manifestation, right? And so, if everyone I look at, if I can look in their eyes and see God, how can I trespass against them? How can I harm you?
No, you can't.
How can I have ill will against you?
Or you shouldn't.
Right?
Right.
And so, if we can all see the God in each other, we would be a heavenly world.
Okay.
Right? But people
Yeah.
don't see that because they're not connected. They've been separated. We are the fallen angels that fell into forgetting.
So we mean connected. You mean connected to source,
Connected to the
God,
source, connected to the divine, connected
connected to
to
divine,
Yahweh,
and Yahweh. Yes. And
Allah, Jehovah,
yeah.
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Whatever your language calls it, that if it
And-
is that which was before all else was.
Yeah. Which is
Right?
God. God.
Now the Kabbalist, they'll refer to it as the all,
All.
simply the all.
All. Got it.
Yeah.
That makes sense because we're all one consciousness.
Yeah, we're all one. And if we are all one, we have access to everything in creation.
Let me ask you this. Do you know about like remote viewing?
Yeah, I've done
Yeah.
remote viewing.
You have.
Oh,
You've
yeah.
done it before. Can you tell us a little more about what remote viewing is and how it can be it could be done, not physically, but how it could be done.
It's all in thought, man.
Okay,
The
so
whole
for people
thing's a
that don't
thought
know,
form. You can be anywhere at any time in creation. We were talking about how our sun came about, right? And at one point, our sun was a trinary star system with Sirius A and B. Another cosmic event occurred that caused a gravitational wave, and so you have like a Sirius A and B right here, right? And
okay,
we're over here, right?
behind it.
And the gravitational wave hits us and pushes us out like this, right? Now we're 8 light years away from each other over a 4 billion year period of time. So a long, long time ago, it was real easy for the Syrians to get over to Earth to start doing genetics and start doing
Genetic testing and
well, start to propagate the Earth, create plants and things like that, right? Seed the Earth. And so they were closer, they could get here a lot quicker, right? And so as we're having this conversation, I'm watching all this happen in my mind. Not like I'm watching it on a TV screen. I'm watching it from a memory.
And it has feelings, sensations,
Everything that goes with it.
smell, taste, everything.
Yeah, I mean it's not like you're going to go watch something on a TV screen.
Got it.
It's like when you flash back and you remember the first girl you kissed.
I remember that now.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was 15 years old.
Yeah,
14, yeah.
right? And so you can remember anything like that. You can pick up this book.
I'm actually going to read that book.
Yeah, you can pick up this book, right, and say, what are they trying to say, Creator? And all of a sudden you're remembering it. So that's the whole point of this book, is to make you remember.
But you
Right?
have to be a little more connected.
No,
That's-
this was the first book I read, and I did magic the next day.
Okay.
I've been climbing this ladder for a long time. Right?
Do you feel like the more you learn, the there's always more room to learn?
If we're still here, we're still learning.
Nice.
But
That's
the whole point of it is shifting it from I'm learning to I'm remembering.
I'm remembering. I'm
Yeah.
experiencing.
See, I can't teach you anything, but I can help you remember anything.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about me being a teacher. It's not about you being a student.
It's about you removing obstacles.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that we are both divine children of the divine. Right? And I have this memory, and I've been learning and remembering for a long time. Right? And you come here, and I help stimulate that remembering in you. Right? I'm just a brother helping you remember. I'm not being your guru. I'm not being your teacher. I'm being your brother, helping you remember everything. And so we do axiatonal, because that's how we repair the damage caused by separation from divine consciousness, or original sin, if you want. Right? That's when the ego said, oh, I'm going to name all the animals. Oh, I just called them animals. Right? The ego. Being
So-
separated is being in your ego.
Got it. Being in your ego. Let me ask you. Some people said in order to like go into divine or go into samadhi, you have to separate the ego from consciousness. Is that what are your thoughts on there, and how would you be able to do something like that?
So, I'm a child of a violent alcoholic father who told me I was stupid.
Yeah, my dad said that too plenty of times.
Yeah. At 16 years old, I ended up in a mental institution, mostly because I ate a whole lot of acid.
Acid? That was
Yeah.
big, right? 70s?
60s,
So,
right?
okay.
So, the head of probate, Dr. Maccabee, he says, son, your problem is that you're a genius stuck in an idiot's body because you believed your dad when he told you were stupid. Right? And so, I'm walking around life feeling like I'm this turd on the bottom of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I got to blow myself up this big so I can feel this big. It's a survival instinct.
Okay.
Right? Because if I stay feeling like this, I'm going to jump off a bridge.
Yeah.
And I almost did. Not a bridge particularly, but
Yeah.
there's been plenty of times that consideration has come to me. As a matter of fact, Walter died on April 20th, 1974 on an Angelus overdose.
Who's Walter?
The original occupant of this body.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And so Walter died. I was part of the recovery team to help him get back in his body. He chose to go home. Well, he left a perfectly good body behind. We couldn't let that happen. And so I was the one selected to come into the body. Of course, once I got into the body, I'm Walter. And I have no access to the memory of being a star being.
Okay.
And it took years and years of crossing paths with just the right people who had just the right messages that helped me tweak that memory. And today I remember the whole event. I remember Walter going off. I remember coming to the body, resurrecting it from the dead. And
Interesting.
it just takes a lot of time to crack through that filter.
Crack through the filter.
Yeah.
You mean the veil?
The veil.
The veil.
Yeah.
So,
Veil of
I hear that a
separation.
lot.
Yeah,
the
the veil of
separation.
separation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like peeking behind the veil.
Okay, so you know why a lot of people are waking up now?
Why? I mean, but I've noticed that a lot more.
Okay.
Like I'm
because we're connected to the earth. This is the earth.
Mm-hmm.
This right here is the earth.
Mm-hmm.
That's the earth mother.
Yes.
Right? My thoughts is father thinking.
Yes.
Right? I'm the memory complex that forms the personality. So,
but more and more people are being like, they're waking up. Like there's
okay,
more
now
to
look
it.
Now look at this at the planetary level. In 1958, they discovered the ozone. The ozone filters out high vibrations of light. Right?
Okay.
Now the ozone's 3 miles thick and missing in other places around the world. There's no ozone over top of Antarctica. Right? So really high vibrations are coming up, and what's our PV?
It's dangerously high from what they say.
We got the lotion on our body, keep from getting skin cancer, right?
I don't put any of that stuff on.
Right?
But yeah.
Yeah, get it? Right? And so the higher the vibration of light, the higher the level of information coming through. Light transmits information like fiber optics.
Probably faster.
Yeah. So the higher the vibration of light, ultraviolet, infrared, X-ray, gamma rays, right? They're carrying higher frequencies of information. So the thinner the ozone gets, the more information comes through to those of us who recognize that light transmits thought. And those of us who can't accept that resist the light and get incinerated. They get cancer, skin cancer, melanoma, right?
That makes. I mean, I've been.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm a sun dancer. I dance under the sun for 4 days. No food,
that's
no
what you
water.
mean, sun dancer.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like you go to a Sundance festival.
No.
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
I'm a
different.
sun
Okay,
dancer.
you
Yeah,
dance
yeah,
under
yeah.
the sun.
Eagle claws ripped out of my chest.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what you mean. So here's
See my beauty marks?
Oh man, that's it. So for those of you that can't see, he just showed me some eagle marks on your chest.
Yeah, scars.
Yeah.
Yeah, where they literally rip the skin off your flesh.
Wow.
Rip your flesh off your body.
Yeah. So I've been swimming for like 30 years under the sun. Not 30 years, 20 years. And where like a lot of people would have done skin cancer, I never bothered with any of that stuff.
See, if you recognize that as intellect, light, information,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you're receptive to receiving light, right? You're receptive to receiving the information that's flowing through you,
Yeah.
right? The sun doesn't hurt you.
I mean, but
so,
what would you say
so
to
what's
someone?
happening on the planet, okay, is that the ozone is that veil. The thinner the veil gets, the more enlightened the earth becomes. Okay? We're moving out of separation. And those who refuse to awaken
Mm-hmm.
will ultimately incinerate on this planet and turn to ash.
Well, sucks for them.
Right? And heaven on earth is already here. It's just in a higher dimensional frequency. Okay? The way you get to that higher dimensional frequency is not by some elaborate machinery. It's simply by letting go of fear and embracing the love and becoming the love. Because love is vibrating at 186,000 miles a second. The atoms in your body are spinning at 165,000 miles a second, right? You alter that by 1%, and you're no longer experienced by those in a third-dimensional reality. I walked through the Rodney King riots in L.A., down Vermont Street. I walked past 20 gang members holding handguns and Uzis. None of them saw me. I stepped off the curb as they walked past me. None of them looked back at me. And I said, God, what can I do to help? And God said, rain would help. Just so happens I was trained by the Elflor family how to do weather magic.
What, you mean like a rain dance?
Not really, kind of. So what I did is I went to my medicine wheel in Idlewild, California on Strawberry Creek next to the Isamata School. And I was able to, I'm doing a pipe ceremony, right? And I asked the Archangel Sandalphon that rules over Malkuth on the Tree of Life, rules over the elementals, the Kerubium angels. And so I asked the Kerubium angels to bring all the moisture within 500 miles through my counterclockwise spinning crown chakra, that I might be the center of a low pressure system that would bring rain upon the city of Los Angeles, that would help put out the fires that have overwhelmed 500 alarms, create an unpleasant environment for rioting and looting, and wash away the negative emotions that the healing could begin. And within 6 hours, it rained for 5 days, at a time of year when it don't rain.
So this is 94.
This is 92.
92, right, during the Rodney King riots. Okay,
yeah,
got it.
Right, and this is 2 years after I received Axiotonal, getting my PC plugged back into the mainframe. Ask and you shall receive. The word is the will. Ask and you shall receive. I asked for rain, and the rain came. I was asking for all the right reasons. I was asking for the good of all, according to the free will of all, so mote it be.
What do you mean asked? You also mean you manifested it?
No, I asked.
You literally
I asked in voice, right, to the Kerubium angels and to Archangel Sandalphon to bring all the moisture within 500 miles through my crown chakra, that I would be the center of a low pressure system, right? Now, there are exactly 213 low and high pressure systems on the planet at all times. So if someone creates a low pressure system, they're actually taking it from somewhere else. This one came out of Malaysia, which was having really heavy monsoons, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know at that time, but yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And so I had to literally pull that low pressure system up to drop it here.
Okay.
Right? And so it is because of Axiotonal and our reconnection to divine thought that I can see that happening planet-wide. You simply know it.
Yeah.
The hard part is getting used to knowing it, because you're going to question, doubt, and go through all your judgment and everything else.
Yeah, I'm not quite there yet, but yeah, I mean, like, remember I told you I got sick, and I told myself, I'm like, Mom, no matter what, I'm gonna get better. By tomorrow morning, I'm gonna be good. Like, you don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm doing this meditation. I'm doing it's called the out of box, where you just manifest yourself, or you just picture yourself just getting better. That's it. Like you're in a good state. You feel it, you taste it, you sense it, and you're just getting better. And I did that, Next morning, guess what? Felt like $1 million or $10 million, whatever. But
think about it.
Yeah.
It really comes down to think about it.
But that's also helped me a lot in sales.
Yeah.
And I thought about it, like just closing the person, just what they're wearing before I walk in, and at the end we're just shaking hands, and like I'm happy, and it happens. But here's the thing: the first couple of times I was like, nah, it's coincidence.
No,
it's in my head.
Yeah.
But I was like, you question yourself.
You got to go through that first. You got to go through it.
But after like 16 times of it happening,
you say there's something to this.
Yeah. There's something to this.
You got to go through. You're going to go through those experiences of doubt, fear, judgment.
Yeah. Definitely. But after a while, it's like, oh, okay, this is just how it is. Let me just make it happen.
So everything I know about creation, the universe, everything, I knew back in 1998, really. And the only difference now is that I've been experiencing it
more and more.
Yeah, I'm experiencing heaven on earth unfolding before my eyes.
I mean, look at this place. So for those of you that are not here, I mean, no one's here, but and you can't see. Dude, this guy has a really badass house. When I met him, super simple guy. He has a regular truck. You'll never tell he's like a million. Like, he has a big house. Like he does, like you don't show off.
Actually, I own nothing. This is all Vivian's.
Oh.
All the work I've done here has been because of my love for her. Building that deck.
Yeah.
19 months it took to build those decks out there. I did that as an act of love.
Okay.
I don't own anything. I own I own 2 Mustangs.
Okay.
One is a race car and it needs work, and I have another Mustang, and I have a truck out there. It's got flat tires.
Okay.
I own nothing. I'm a poor priest.
But even Vivian, if
Yeah.
you see her, super humble. Me and her were just out on the deck talking for like 30 minutes. She's like, oh, I want to go to Egypt with Edo. I was like, you should go. Yeah, she's like, I was just showing her pictures, and she's like, how's it like, sweet? I was like, it was amazing.
Yeah.
But what she asked me is interesting, because when I went into the pyramid, you go inside, you go up to the main tomb where the king was buried, of course, and the energy there and the vibration was like very different. Like I've never experienced anything like that. And my skin, like my hair follicles, just stood up. And she asked me, like, did you experience anything like that after? I was like, yeah, during like deep meditation, but I've never really physically experienced something like that.
What you are unaware of is that you are inside of a pyramid right now. Every home I've lived in here in Sedona, I've built an etheric amethyst pyramid around my home for protection.
What does that mean?
That means I mentally project a 6 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot amethyst block in position around my house until I build a flat top pyramid that has 8 black onyx columns coming up, holding a single crystal dome with a single crystal altar. So in my dream time, I can go up to my altar and do my ceremonies.
You mean, is that in the sense like warding the place?
Hmm?
Is it like you're warding the place? Like you're blessing it? Can you say that?
Well,
Because a lot of people listening to this, they might not understand that concept per se.
yeah.
That's-
Well,
I
see,
just
the whole
wanna get
point of
into
it is that bad things don't happen here.
Yeah, but yeah, only good things. I
Yeah.
only met good people here.
95% of everybody who comes into this house
Mm-hmm.
is seeking a spiritual awareness.
That's 19 out of 20 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
That's awesome.
come here seeking a spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I just came here for the reason I really just learned more about Sedona is I was in Mexico during I was before Joe Dispenza. This is like a year and a half ago. I was talking to someone. He was a geologist, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I've been to Sedona and I've done research and this." And I was like, "What are you talking about, bro? What's Sedona?" He's like, "Oh, it's this place in Arizona that has a vortex." And I was like, "Okay, what's that?" He's like, "It's an energy." And I was like, "Is that even real?" He's like, "Dude," he's like, "we have like machines that measure the energy level and the vibrations." And he's like, "In certain spots, it spikes."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, bro." He's like, "I have funding from universities." And I
Mhm.
was like, "Wow."
Yeah.
And I was like, "I need to check this place out." And I'm here.
When airplanes fly into the airport, their gauges go apeshit crazy when they fly over airport vortex.
What do you think that's from?
Okay, so the rock here, it's red, right?
Yeah.
That's iron.
Okay.
But it's also sandstone, which is crystal. Right? If you get a little bit of iron together and put it in a different form, get a little crystal together and put it in a form, you got a radio. You got an amplifier.
Yeah, it's ample. Yeah, it's ample.
Right?
Yeah.
And so the whole thing, it's not just a vortex at Airport Vortex and at Cathedral Rock and at Bell Rock and at Boynton Canyon.
Yeah, it's all over.
Yeah, the whole thing is a vortex. Right? Those are just spin points.
Is it just stronger there? A little stronger?
Yeah, it's like a little stronger there because that's where it's pumping out or drawing in.
But when I drove here, I just felt, you know what I felt like? It's like 2 days before Christmas. And the atmosphere, you know how people are just happier during the holidays?
Mm-hmm.
And the energy just rubs off on people?
Yeah.
And you're just happy. You know, the holidays are here. People are
All
off
of a
of
sudden you
work.
come over that hill and there's those red rocks, man.
Yeah.
Your eyes just perk up.
Yeah, it was cool. I don't want to say it was magical, but I felt that happiness.
Yeah.
And just a little lighter. And I was just here. I was like, oh man, I got here. It's awesome. I went to the airport mesa. It was nice. I met different people, and everyone was just generally nice. And I was like, dude, it's like Christmas.
Right.
It felt like Christmas. It just did. Yeah, and
Right.
I like that. I like that energy.
So if you so the medicine wheel that's here in Sedona, it surrounds the entire city. It's 7 miles across. Schnebly Hills the north, or no, 70 Hills the east. Cathedral Rock is the south. Coxcomb's the west, and there's a Nolan Secret Canyon that's the north, and then Sugarloaf Mountain is the heart. Okay.
Sugarloaf Mountain.
So we had a medicine wheel up on Schnebly Hill back in the 90s that John Armbruster built. It was 150 feet in diameter. And every full moon for 8 years, we went up there and did a full moon drumming medicine wheel ceremony.
What is it about a full moon that things are more potent and there's more energy in the atmosphere?
Well, it's more light.
There's more light, but is that like energy? Like more light, more energy?
Light's energy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Right.
that makes perfect sense. Okay.
And so for 8 years, we drummed up there every full moon. People from all over the world would show up. You get 200 people up there. Back in those days, you could drive a Corolla up there, right? Now you have to have a high-level Jeep to get up there. But the point of it is that you can go up there and douse the energy of that medicine wheel, and you don't get outside the energy of that medicine wheel for 3 miles, right? This medicine wheel that surrounds Sedona is 7 miles in diameter. It's been here invoked since spring equinox of 1993. 6 million people a year come here and exert energy. All that energy amplifies the medicine wheel. You can measure this medicine wheel 30 miles away.
Wow.
Now what that creates is an energetic sphere. It's not just a circle, it's a sphere that even encompasses inside the earth. Okay? So that when you come to Sedona, there are more people here per capita who are thinking in higher spiritual planes of thought. Right? So per capita, there's more people here seeking a spiritual awareness than there are in LA.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Right? Okay? And so because of that, in the collective consciousness of Sedona, there's more of a yes, you can. Then, oh, you'll go to hell for that. Right?
Yeah, it's more positive thoughts.
Right.
I mean.
And so this energy inside this medicine wheel amplifies it in such a way that you are more able to hear and understand higher spiritual principles and integrate it into your life, which causes a quickening of your spiritual journey. If you do a month in Sedona, you would have to do 10 years in LA to get to the same spiritual place.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah. What if someone says, this is BS? How would you measure something like that? What would you say?
Well, you can use dowsing rods to measure it.
Dowsing rods?
Yeah. And you can also...
What's a dowsing rod?
L rods, copper L rods. You know, you look for water.
Yeah, old school. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's also machines that do it?
Yeah, there's also machines that can do the same thing.
Okay.
But you have to be able to pick up the energy to know what energy you're actually looking at.
Okay.
Right? And so that's why dowsing rods actually work better, because you can direct with will what you want the dowsing rods to actually pick up. And so the whole point of it is that just coming to Sedona for a short period of time accelerates your spiritual growth exponentially, because there's no one here saying, no, you can't believe that. Well, there are people here who will say that. But per capita, there's a lot more saying, go for it, dude.
Go for it.
Yeah.
But
that should do the magic, man. Do the magic.
They should be like that everywhere, though. Just go for it, man. Do it. You know.
Yeah, but
yeah. The whole.
You know, you get to that hard right wing, man, and now they're trying to suppress. They want to turn the country into a fundamentalist fascism.
Yeah, I don't want to get into politics, but
that's
you know,
that's the whole point of it is they're afraid of what we're doing.
Yeah,
because it means that they've got to deal with the reality that they've been following information that's outdated, information that doesn't let you go all the way with it, and they're too busy and caught up in their reality of making money and making their life happen and do this. They can't be involved with spending 40 years of their life searching for God.
But you seem so happy, dude.
Oh, I am. I live in heaven on earth, man.
You seem so happy, like
my life.
You've been smiling.
My life's an unfoldment.
You seem like the richest person I know because you're happy.
Yeah, it's just because it's happiness. It's
joy. That is. But think about it. Don't
people... So look at this. So if I do a kindness to you,
yeah,
and that kindness changes your life,
yeah,
and it becomes a better life,
and I'll change 10 people,
right? But the point of it is that I feel a joy in my heart if I've done this without selfish intent.
Yeah.
If I just did a kindness, and that kindness changed your life, this joy that's in my heart is heaven on earth.
I have 2 more questions for you. That's awesome. When you said the heart, I thought of the heart chakra.
Yeah.
Since you have a PhD in metaphysics, is there like scientific evidence that there is chakras?
Oh, you can measure them energetically, yeah.
Okay. And what are chakras for people that don't understand what they are?
Well, there's actually a lot of chakras on your body.
The main ones. Let's just say the basic ones. Okay, the 7.
You have your basic 7, your base chakra, which is
So
Yeah.
it's in your body, but what are they like? And people that have like literally no idea, like, oh yeah, I saw that on the poster.
they're energy points in your body that have different characteristics and responsibilities, right?
Okay.
So the heart chakra develops compassionate love, right? Your solar plex is so. Let me, Chief Little Summer, put it this way: the base chakra is mineral kingdom, stones, rocks, right? The spleen chakra is the plant and animal kingdom. Okay.
Okay.
The solar plex chakra is human, right? Now, what's the difference between humans and animals?
Consciousness.
No, emotions. We have defined emotions, right? We can understand our emotions. We can explore our emotions.
Okay.
We can feel, right? Animals don't have that. Dogs get a little bit close to it. Bad rover, he cowers, right?
Okay.
He doesn't exactly know what it's all about, but still he's having a reaction to an emotional catalyst, right? So he's moving more so than a plant. You're not seeing a plant quiver when you say bad plant, right? It might die the next day.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, plants have consciousness too, I believe.
Everything has consciousness, down to every quark, every subatomic particle. Everything has consciousness because everything's God's mind.
Got it. Makes sense.
Right?
On a last note, yeah, that's true. That everything has consciousness because it has vibrations and it has
Everything's God.
Has energy.
Everything's God, even this table.
Yeah.
Right? It's a thought form in the mind of God. Right?
Got it.
So now understand this. If we can get to that place of wrapping our mind around mentalism, as in the Kabbalion, right? And we recognize that everything it is God in manifestation, right? Show me your hands. How can these be anything but the hands of God? Right? If you come to the point of knowing that, put them on a blind man. My son Ryan.
The podcaster?
No, it's the brother.
Okay.
Right? Ryan woke up in 2007 completely blind in his left eye. He was a professional photographer. Right? He's doing school photography for Life Touch.
Okay.
By the end of the day, he determined he had multiple sclerosis. So
MS, for people that don't know.
Yeah, MS. And so I was in San Francisco at the time, and I had to get back to Cincinnati. And I did axiotonal on him. Within a week, his vision came back.
Wait, where was he?
In Cincinnati.
You went physically? You went physically.
I physically went back to Cincinnati and did axiotonal on him.
I thought you did coherence healing or something like that.
No, I went there and I did axiotonal healing on him. And so within a week, his vision came back. 3.5 years ago, my son, who has the podcast, Adam, got married in the Vatican. And Ryan had to be there as best man. And to do that, he had to have a passport. They had to run all these tests on him for him to get a passport. They can't find MS anywhere in his body. Daddy came home with a miracle. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Because if your mind connects that you're this aspect of the divine in manifestation, and you recognize that everything is the divine in manifestation, then these can only be the hands of God.
Okay. Yeah.
Because there is only God. It's the only substantial reality. And whether you call it Allah, Jehovah, Yahweh,
it's different words for the same thing.
Massa, it's
Messiah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do understand that concept.
Yeah.
It's a little deeper than you're kind of bringing it to the basic level, but it is a little deeper, and I do understand that.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Everything is connected, and we have the power of God within us because we are one with God.
And when your mindset gets there, because our brother told us, Yahshua ben Joseph, the one they call Jesus, right? Who we also know as Sananda Melchizedek, right? An aspect of Melchizedek. I'm Cephas Melchizedek. I'm an aspect of Melchizedek. Okay? He said to us, I tell you this, my brethren, greater things than this shall you do. Right? 2 years after I received axiotonal, I invoked a rainstorm that stopped a riot in L.A. I put my hands on my son. His vision came back. Tim Wainbright in Cocoa, Florida, member of the American Legion. Right?
Yeah, you told me,
Yeah, He was on a double lung transplant list. Him and his wife came to my house where I was giving a class, and I did acetone on him. Within a week, he came off his medication.
What is acetonal? So you keep saying it, but I don't understand what it is. I mean,
see that book, the white book there called Keys of Enoch?
You want to explain it to me? Like, because most people can't even see it.
Yeah. Key 317, the Keys of Enoch, has about 10 pages. It talks about acetone being what you might consider a fifth-dimensional circulatory system within the body that's been shut down since we went in separation.
So you're tapping into your higher self.
We're reawakening this fifth-dimensional circulatory system. So we're bringing your astral body and connecting it to your physical body. So we're bringing your angelic self back into your body so that you wake up as a conscious angel of co-creation. So before acetone, one might say, I've got a great idea. You got to hear this.
Yeah.
Right? Being totally in his ego. Right? After acetone, one might say, I've just been divinely inspired with a wonderful idea, and therefore the Creator recognizes in me the gifts and talents to make manifest the will of God upon the earth as I am the angel of co-creation.
That's a mouthful. You know what? Fuck it. We're going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do it today. Why not?
Yeah. So that's what Jesus was doing when he's touching the tops of the apostles' heads, for example. And now there's a violet flame, the awakening of the crown chakra, right? Now there's a halo. And that halo is the higher self chakra. It's the golden orb that's about 18 inches above your head, right? And so if I'm holding a crystal ball, you can see through that crystal ball. But what you're seeing is light shimmering on the outside, so you're seeing a ring, right? So if I have an illuminating golden orb that's translucent, right, and you're seeing through it, you're seeing the light refraction around it that looks like a halo.
Okay.
Got that?
Yeah.
Right?
So, okay, how much time? Man, we've been talking for... Wow. One last question. So for people that, they say they're down in life, I always ask people this question. And you're down in life, you're sad, things are going bad for you. What advice would you have for them?
Okay.
One piece of advice you would have. Like something basic. They're not into awakening or anything like that. Just something basic.
So, on April 10th, 1994, I had a house full of people. We were having a home crew meeting, and I said something outrageous, and everyone got up and left my home. And I put my violence out into my community. And that night I went out and I rolled up a tobacco, offered the 4 directions to Father, Mother, God. And I said, Creator, you can blow a wind across the ocean and knock down 63,000 homes. Hurricane Andrew wiped out Homestead, Florida. I said, surely you have enough power to take my obsession for drugs and alcohol away from me so I can be your humble servant upon the earth. And I woke up the next day and I had no obsession for drugs or alcohol, and I haven't in 28 years.
That's awesome, man. So you're clean 28 years?
28 years. So the whole point of it is that open your heart to the divine love of God. It's there waiting for you. It is your own personal self-judgment that says, I'm not worthy to receive. And you have to let go of that. Just let go.
Awesome.
And no matter what state you are in your life, from that moment on, your life will change.
What do you mean let go? Forgive yourself in a sense.
Yeah, forgive yourself. There's nothing. Okay, you needed every experience you ever had to be here now.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Right?
The good ones and the bad ones.
Amazing experience you're
this
having?
Is amazing, dude. Me and you just talking, me breathing.
And you just call it. You just connected yesterday to get this place to stay, and I just happen to have one room that we're now in this conversation having divine thought being transmitted.
Yes.
Right? And it took everything you have ever done in your entire life to be here now.
Yeah.
Right? Ram Dass's book, Be Here Now.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's saying. If you're focused on what happened yesterday, you're not in the present.
I'm not focused on
If you're focused on what's going to happen tomorrow, you're not in the present. It's called the present because it's a gift from God.
It is. I agree. So stay in the moment and forgive yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Cool?
Yeah.
Right on, brother. Thank you.
All right. Cool beans.
Yeah.